Well, it's a big day for the Catholic Church as today marks the beginning of the Conclave. And who knows, we might have a new Pope at the end of the day.
Sound like we're doing some football scores. Big day if they're going to get relegated.
It is, big day.
Joining us live from Rome to give us the latest news is our new Conclave correspondent. It is Richard Chambers. Ricardo, how are you? How are you doing?
Buongiorno, guys. How are you?
Yeah, you're really settling in there.
Excellent.
We can see you there. So you are obviously set up for the day. Can you first run us through the order of events? What is the papal conclave?
Yeah, the conclave, it's the purest form of election, a secret vote. It has been done for centuries now at this point in time in the Sistine Chapel over my shoulder behind us. So basically, you'll have 133 cardinals who will enter the Sistine Chapel under those magnificent frescoes by Michelangelo. There they will cast secret ballots to elect the next pope. Everybody knows by now the white smoke signifying the election of a new pope, black smoke if they haven't chosen a new pontiff yet. But everything is a very secretive, it is a very ritual-focused process. Cardinals are told to disguise their handwriting so that their colleagues don't know who exactly they're voting for. But it is expected to take about 2 to 3 days to get this done. About 4:30 Italian time today is when it'll all begin. So about 3:30 at home is when you'll start to see that procession in. So you might see black smoke coming out of the Sistine Chapel chimney sometime around 6:30 in Ireland.
What are we thinking in terms of duration to make the decision, Richard? Is there any idea? Obviously, it's the largest vote in history, 133 cardinals.
Yeah, it's huge, Tommy. 133 cardinals, 80% of them were actually picked by the late Pope Francis himself. So a lot of them actually don't know each other. A lot of them have been walking around over the last couple of weeks wearing name badges with their names in the countries of origin, and such is the fact that they have never met each other at any great lengths before. So that makes it unpredictable too. So while the consensus is that this will be a short thing, the Catholic Church doesn't want a conclave going on for days or weeks because that would signify that the Church is quite divided. The last couple of them have been 2 days in length, 3 days in length, I think was the longest one we've seen over the last 60 years or so. So it is expected to be a quick process, but if it does drag on a bit, I think that will be a sign, Tommy, that things aren't all as harmonious as you might imagine within the College of Cardinals.
I can't believe that they walk around like it's a cool camp with
Their
name
names,
tags, like a GA. That's, I've never thought of it in that way before. Okay, so Ireland doesn't have a vote in this because our Cardinal Sean Brady is over the age of 80. You have to be under the age of 80 in order to do this. Can I ask you what the mood is like? You know, Pope Francis, God rest him, he's passed away. Is it somber or is it exciting?
It's definitely on the edge of excitement at this point in time. There was obviously that period of mourning over the last number of days following the funeral of Pope Francis, but now all attention is on who the next guy is going to be. And there has been a huge debate in Rome and around the world in the Catholic Church about the direction of travel, because so many people, particularly outside the Catholic Church, had an admiration for Pope Francis, speaking out about poverty, about social justice, about things like Gaza, for example, things which actually got him in quite a lot of trouble within the College of Cardinals. So there is a debate as to whether or not they will follow in Francis's footsteps in terms of a more open church, or whether they might regress and go down a more traditionalist route, focusing more heavily on church doctrine, on things like remarrying, LGBT issues, and you know, how the Catholic Church interacts with other faiths as well. So the fact is, we don't know what's going to happen inside there. So there is that element of anticipation, there is that element of excitement, because there is simply no way of knowing. You'll have loads of people talking about all the frontrunners and who might win it, but the truth is, once all those the cardinals go into the Sistine Chapel, and nobody has a clue what goes on behind those closed doors.
I want to go through the top runners potentially to be the next pope, but I want to ask you first of all, it looks really busy behind you. What's the mood been like for the media, the press, even the number of people who are there to try and to be there to see the new pope?
It's actually bananas, Tommy. We actually arrived here now at our live point here. I'm standing on a little stool, a little green stool here in the middle of St. Peter's Square to try and get over the other cameras and the other stages and stools which have been erected by crews from around the world to try and, you know, get a better vantage point, get the dome in the background there. And then this policeman has walked in the past few minutes and he started ripping up all the tape. People have been marking out their areas, their own patches in this little pig pen where we've been. So he's been ripping all that up. So it's going to be organised chaos here for the rest of the day. It's elbow room only. I'm shoulder with a crew from Asia here as well. So we're all like bumped in, very tightly hemmed in what is effectively a pig pen. So it is kind of chaotic. You see all the wonderful, serene ritual later on. Out here for us members of the media, it is a lot more chaotic, a lot more hot and sweaty, I'd have to say as well.
Yeah, in all fairness, the Catholic Church, the original socialist, can't be putting your plot down on land. You've got to share it with everybody else. OK, so let's talk about the front runners. We're going to start with an Italian first, Pietro Parolin. Everyone's talking about him.
Yeah. Pietro Parolin is an interesting guy. He was the Secretary of State under Pope Francis, so basically the second in command. Now, previously, he had comments to make about Ireland. Back when Ireland passed the marriage equality referendum, he described it as a defeat for humanity. So you might be surprised to hear that he is somebody who is quite detested by a lot of the more conservative people in the Catholic Church. His views, like those of Pope Francis, I suppose, as well, they have moderated, they have relaxed over the years as well. But he has been the victim of a smear campaign, according to some of his supporters. The more right-wing conservative American Catholic press put out that he fainted in the congregations in the run-up to the conclave. That's the best way of discrediting a cardinal, is to say, listen, he has health problems. If you elect him as Pope, he won't last very long. But they've had to come out and deny that this is the case. So already a bit of skullduggery. Fans of the film Conclave might recognise some of the tactics being used there.
Wow, OK. Another one of the contenders is from the Philippines, Cardinal Luis Antonio Tagle, I think it is.
Yeah, Tagle is his name. Cheeto Tagle is what he's known as colloquially. This is a guy who's very popular on TikTok, Filipino guy. You know how Filipino people, karaoke is a national sport in the Philippines, so he's got himself regularly seen singing and dancing online. He got himself in a bit of hot water for singing Imagine by John Lennon. Of course, the lyrics in that, Imagine There's No Heaven. Now, his defence on this was that he actually changed the lyrics in the song, that it didn't have reference to that. Again, part of the smear campaigns that do go on behind the scenes. But he's been dubbed the Asian Francis. He is seen as very open towards the LGBT community, following a lot of the messages that Pope Francis did as well. So he is considered a bit of a frontrunner, although he's perhaps too young at the sprightly young age of 67.
He is one of the youngest ones. I want to get onto this fantasy Pope game in a second, but finally we're just going to go with Peter Turkson from Ghana.
Yeah, Turkson from Ghana. He was the frontrunner in 2013. He is considered something of a conservative. He's a guitar player, once played in a funk band playing the music of James Brown. So that's quite unusual, I suppose, for a potential leader of the Roman Catholic Church of 1.4 billion people around the world. But he is seen as somebody who might be down the middle of the line, a bit of a moderate, somebody whose views have relaxed over the years as well. But he would previously have been seen as quite a conservative figure, as many of the cardinals from Africa are. They're seen as being more on the traditionalist wing of the church.
Now, there's a game that's sweeping the Italian nation that you let us know about yesterday, actually, on social media. Can you tell us about fantasy Pope ball, Richard?
Yeah. Fantapapa, Mirren, is what this is called. So, you know, the Catholic Church and the papacy is obviously, it is the religion in Rome, but the secondary one is football, and Italy is the birthplace, effectively, of fantasy football. So everybody in Italy is playing this game called Fantapapa, where you pick 11, like you would a football team, cardinals you think might be the next pope. You captain the one you think will be the most likely. You put as goalkeeper the one you think is the least likely, and then you get points if your guy comes out on top at the end of the conclave. But it goes down to you predict the name of the next pope, whether or not he'll appear wearing glasses on the balcony, what languages he'll speak, when we'll get a result, all this stuff. It sounds a bit neurotic, like the amount of different elements you bring into the predictions for this thing. But this is what Italians are all about. You see them in coffee shops and in bars, sitting out scrolling through Fantapapa, trying to pick who the next pope might be. But through this, there is actually an interesting gauge of public opinion. You get to see who the favourites are. So the ones who are coming out on top at the moment, Pietro Parolin, Tagle and Matteo Zuppi, from Bologna in northern Italy. They seem to be the most popular amongst the Fantapapa obsessives at this point in time.
OK, love it. I tried to download it there. I can't get it.
I don't think you can get it outside of Italy. I was trying yesterday.
Tom, you're missing out. You're still in the running as far as I'm concerned. Yeah. If you're, yeah. So, I mean, anybody can practically be picked pope. You don't have to be a cardinal. So, listen, keep an eye on your phone over the next couple of days.
Yeah, unless you're a woman. Remember that. But Ricardo Chambery, our Conclave correspondent, thank you so much. And Richard will be keeping you up to date, of course, across the day on Virgin Media News as to what's going on in St. Peter's Square. Thank you so much, Richard.
Keep those elbows out, Richard.
Thanks,
it's good to hear from you.